fender and just give it a pull. Hello, I'm Brian Eslick from How to Automotive, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to transform a Jeep on the Jeep. So come with me. In today's video, we're going to take my stock looking Jeep, make it look more manly and more badass. So this is my Jeep Slickstone, and I tried to put it up for sale because I have an investment opportunity and I need some cash. And I wanted to put this Jeep up for sale, and I put it up on the market, and it sat there for about a month. No phone calls, no clicks, no nothing. I couldn't get any movement on the Jeep. I couldn't even get people to even ask, hey, what's the big deal about it? This is a fully capable Jeep. It's got 30,000 plus in upgrades, and I got no clicks. And so even though this has a ton of upgrades from a 4.5-inch long travel metal lift kit to Hutchinson's dual beadlock wheels, it has full floating axle conversions in the front and rear, big brake kit, you name it, it's got it on this Jeep. But yet not one click, not one call, nothing on this Jeep. And to be honest, it was priced very fair and comparable to a lot of other Jeeps in our area. So I have a buddy that works down at the car dealership, and he pointed out that because this Jeep has stock fenders and stock bumpers, when you look at it online on the photos online, it looks like basically at a first glance, it looks like a stock Jeep. And the people don't even take time to read and see what's involved in the Jeep and all the upgrades. It just blow right past yours. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to swap out the front bumpers, the fenders, and the rear bumper. And then I got an adapter to put the spare tire on. This is now an 8-lug, and the spare tire is a 5-lug. I know this is not a perfect situation for off-roading, but we need to get the spare tire on there to complete the look of the vehicle so we can get it sold. So I went online and I got the best matching pair of front and rear bumpers that I could find for the money that wasn't like crazy expensive. Now these aren't the most top of the line bumpers or anything like that, but they are a good looking bumper. They will complete the look of the Jeep back there and make it look more, just more complete, make it stand out on those photos, and then get people to read about it. So what really is where the money was really spent was in the suspension of this vehicle. This vehicle, suspension wise, is pretty badass. So right now we're going to start stripping this bumper here off, front and rear, get those off. We're going to get the front and rear fenders off. First thing I'm going to do is remove my license plate here so we can transfer that over to the new bumper. And then we're going to reach under here and find out where the electrical connectors are for the two fog lights, unplug those, and then get that disconnected. And then on the back side here, we got a couple 18mm bolts. So there's gonna be two on the one side of the frame and two on the opposite side. Same thing right here. So you might have to get an extension to work around the vacuum pump here. There's two 18mm here and two 18mm there. And then the whole front bumper here will slide off, and then we'll get access to the plastic cover here. We'll take that off next. We're just gonna unplug the electrical connector here for the fog lights, and then the wiring loom here, if you can see here, is clipped on right here. We need to get that free. I'm gonna try to do it without breaking. So if you look here on the underside, so here's the license plate in the front of the bumper. If there's a little slit right here, if you put needle nose pliers right in there, you can squeeze the tabs on there, and on this side here, you can pull the wiring harness off. Hopefully you'll be able to make that out in the video. Like so you'll put your needle nose here, squeeze the clips through here, and then reach around the back side and pull the wiring off. So the wiring looms turned out not to be the clip type, they turned out to be the Christmas tree type. So instead I just pushed from the back side with the needle nose pliers in a few of the spots that it was located. And now I got the wire loom completely disconnected from the main bumper in here. Now, like I said, we're going to remove the 18mm bolts on both sides. You can either do an extension from here with a wobbly socket, or you can just reach up inside the bumper here with an 18mm ratcheting wrench, or a ratchet will fit in here and take the inner bolts. These are going to be the hardest ones on the driver's side here because of the pump, but not too hard overall. You should be able to get them off. To break those free, I'm going to use just a flex head ratchet with an 18mm socket, and then once they're loose, I'll switch over to my insider ratchet here. This is new from Milwaukee Tool. They have their own sockets that come with it, or you can adapt it from a 3/8 drive to a 1/4 inch drive to a hex drive, whatever you want to. So you can put the adapter on here, and now it's a 3/8 drive ratchet, and then you can use extensions, whatever sockets you want, and then I'll spin the bolts off with the ratchet here. So we're gonna snake the inside a ratchet in here. Got that nut off right there, as you can see. And I'll do the same for the second one. Now I got the ratchet adapted to a 3/8 drive with an extension, and getting the bolts off in here. Like I said, I already loosened these up by hand. Definitely recommend this for your trail bag. This is going to be an awesome tool for you. Now what you build the bumper. I'm going to take this filler panel off here. There's a screw here, screw here. So there's an air show going on right now. That's why the jets are above. Those are F-18s that you hear flying over. So I just slid the bumper on. As you can see, it's a much beefier look. Because we're not mounting the winch, I think we're going to be okay with our vacuum pump here. If you're mounting a winch, depending on how your bumper is mounted, you'll probably have to relocate that. But in this case, we're good. So now I'm just going to find all the hardware and go ahead and mount this up. So I got all the bolts started with all the lock washers and everything that the kit came with. So I'm just going to run these all 4 or 8 of them down and tighten them up. Call it good. All right, so I got the bumper mounted. It looks pretty freaking cool. It looks way better than the factory stock one does. I'm going to quickly show you how I'm going to wire up the 2 lights here on the front here. Pretty simple. We're going to use the original factory fog lights switch to wire these up. So we're going to take the outer light here and route the wire over the frame. So it'll come over the frame like this. On this side of the frame, we'll take the inner light here and we're going to wire these 2 together. So the wire's coming over the frame, so we're going to wire the red wire to the red wire, the black wire to the black wire here, right? Then we're going to cut the connector off here, strip it back, and we'll put the positive lead. So all 3 leads will go like this. 3 hot wires would be the red. So I'm pretty sure it's the white with the red stripe right there. So we'll cut this connector off and we'll wire that. And then the opposite wire, which is the black wire, will be connected to all 3 black wires. And then we'll do the same thing for the opposite side here. And then we'll mount the wiring harness here into this lower bracket here. We'll just use these clips. So we'll just clip them into these little holes here. That'll hold all your wiring. And then when you turn on your fog lights, boom, all 4 of the lights will light up in the front. Make sense? So you can see here I got the positives. So I got the one for the outer light and the inner light twisted together. And then here's from the lead from the switch. And I use a low temp solder style joint here. So you put them together and you put heat to it, and that melts the solder right here in the center, solders the wires together, and then the heat shrink is built into the outer edges here, as you can see. And you can see how tight and waterproof everything is right here. So it's all waterproof and tight, and a good solder joint right there. Makes perfect for these type of situations. I'll leave links for this in the description of the video. So now I got to wire up the negative side here. So I got the wires twisted together. Now I just got to put the joints together and then heat shrink them with a little torch, and that'll seal that up. Then I can put some black tape on it, and then I can throw the fog light switch on and the lights will work. Pretty cool. So I got the passenger side here all wired up. As you can see, they work good. Now I'm just going to finish wiring up the driver's side, doing the exact same process as I did here. And now we got additional lighting. Things done, all the lights are working, so now we're going to flip the Jeep around and we're going to get started on the rear. So if you're going to remove your rear bumper, the first step you're going to need to do is remove your spare tire. It's already off on ours. After that, we need to get the tow hitch off. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my recovery hook here and then pop off the wiring harness, and then behind here is a couple bolts. I'll show you that in just a second. The wiring harness for the trailer connector is right here. You just pop it down, you kind of twist it and pull it out of the connector here. So right here is the trailer receiver here. We need to remove this. There's 4 18mm bolts that we're going to remove. I'm just going to use a ratcheting wrench, 18mm, bust those all off. So I'm taking off the trailer hitch here, and I'm going to use my walking insider. I've already loosened these bolts up by hand, but you can see that low profile allows me to get in there and get those free easily. That would have been there forever. With a ratcheting wrench like this, that would have been there forever. So, now that you got your trailer hitch removed, now you can go ahead and remove the bolt here, and then you're going to follow right here on the side of the frame here. So if you look down the frame rail here, bolt here, same thing on the opposite side here. You're going to remove the bolts here and here, and then your whole bumper will slide off. Once again, I'm going to use the insider to make quick work of that. Tight fit because of the muffler, but because of the low profile head of the insider here, made quick work of that. So right here, the muffler is in the way, so the low profile head of the insider makes it easy to get these off. We're going to fix faster now. We should be able to work the bumper off. And all right, now that I got the bumper off, now I'm going to remove the recovery hook here. Just going to be a bolt here and a couple from the side. I'm just going to use an impact gun here with an 18mm socket. Make quick work of that. All right, I got my floor jack here. I got this. Gotta just slip it on here like this. And I'm going to try to use the floor jack here, jack it up here, right on the nose here, and kind of do my second pair of hands here. Just like that. So that's kind of holding everything in place. Now I'm going to put the bolts through, and install the bumper. All right, with the bumper supported with the floor jack here, I went ahead and mounted all the hardware. So now I'm going to go ahead and tighten all the center ones here. And then after that, I'll tighten the 2 outers, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to wire up the lights on this one. This one's a little bit different than the front. It doesn't have the wiring, so I have a panel that auxiliary switch. I'll just need to run the wiring from the front of the vehicle to the back here. So I'll figure that out later for the rear LED lights. So we got the rear bumper installed, the front bumper installed. Now we're going to work on getting these crusty old stock fenders off. So you can see they're all faded out. So we're going to get these off and get some new fenders put on it. So the fenders have the exact same coating or texture as the bumpers do, so I have a uniform look to it, so that should look good. We get these off. Convert my insider ratchet here to a 1/4 inch, so I'm gonna use the 1/4 inch adapter so I can use extensions in my 10mm socket. So it just pops the adapter in, and now I can put my extension on here and make it a 10mm, and we'll go ahead and start ripping and tearing. So there's a couple fasteners here, a couple vertical here, and just go around, and then there's gonna be some plastic clips. So as you can see, this one's already been loose. The clips are missing, so we're gonna go ahead and take those clips off and the fasteners off, and then there's clips that clip your fenders that clip into the side of the metal fender. So once you get the bolts off, then you can just literally yank and pull the fender off. Whenever you're taking these off and you see a hole in the liner like that, that means there's going to be a fastener there. So the fastener there, there. Once you get those all taken off the main hardware, you'll see how the fender's loose. Now you should be able to just grab the fender and pull it all the way off. So a couple of the clips stayed on there, so I just used the panel popping tool like this. So these are some inexpensive fenders. They're just stamped metal, shaped like the fender, original fender here. It came with a pile of bolts, no instructions. So the bolts, there's a nut that you can slide behind here, put the nut through, and then you can tighten it up. But so what I'm going to do is, since it's metal on metal, there's nothing to protect it. In the packaging, it came with this this foam padding here. So I'm going to make a gasket. So I'm going to trace out, see if I got enough material here, and trace out, at least for the front fenders, and trace out the fender and make a gasket that goes sandwiches in between the aftermarket fender and the original fender here. That way, if it gets loose or anything, no chafing causes on the paint here, reduces squeaks and rattles. That's my thought anyways. It'll reduce the squeaks and rattles and prevent it from chafing through the paint here, causing future rust or anything like that. So I'm going to take this back off real quick. I only got one bolt holding it on. Trace out the inner fender on the foam pad. The fender on the foam pad. Made a gasket just using a X-Acto knife. I'm going to line it back up and cut out the holes on the foam pad and throw it on the fender. Went down to the auto parts store and picked up some 3M Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive here. I'm going to spray that on here and let it get tacky, and then I'll stick it to the back of the fender, and then we'll cut the holes out and mount it on the car. So this is kind of what going the extra mile looks like, you know. This is definitely not something that's needed, but we're just going to spray this on here, let it get tacky, and then we'll stick it to the fender. Now it's stuck to the back of the fender. Nice fit. We'll trim off any extra little mistakes there, fix that up, and then we'll flip it over, and then we'll cut the holes out. So there's a hole here, hole here. We'll cut that out, and then we'll mount it on the car. So you can see the new fender on. Here is the stock fender look. Definitely a much cleaner, better looking fender than the stock. To remove the rear fenders, it's pretty simple. First thing we need to do is pop out these little Christmas tree clips here. So there's gonna be a few of them here, 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 a couple up here, and a couple up there. To get them out, I just use a panel popping tool like this, or a pair of side cutters like this right here. Get in there, pop them out. Once you got those clips removed, now you can just grab the fender and just give it a pull and pop it out like that. So I just set the fenders on here. It has a couple bolts here and here, and you're gonna put self-tapping screws. Boom, 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 boom. And that's pretty much it. If you want to, you can put the foam pad behind, just like we did on the front. That would give it the extra protection and an extra touch. So I centered the fender up, put the two top bolts here. Now I got about 5 of these self-tapping screws. Gonna run these in. I like the way this one didn't really mount very well. So I mounted the the self-tapping screws, and they didn't really tighten up. They're just spinning on me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them back out one more time here. I'm going to drill this hole out just a little bit. So I drilled the hole out a little bit. Now I'm going to use a pop rivet. Put it in there. Pop rivet it to it. I think it's better than the self-tapping screws. They're not holding very well, so I'm going to just swap all these out. You know, that's the thing, just going the extra mile for something. If it's not right, go the extra mile and figure out something and make it right. These flat fenders are, you know, very inexpensive, but they give you a lot more ground clearance. They definitely look better than the factory ones. All right, so we got a pile of parts here, and here's the final results. New bumper installed, new front fenders, and new rear fenders. The spare tire adapter didn't get here in time for this video, so there'll be the adapter, and there's the spare tire mounted on the back here shortly, and that'll complete the look of the Jeep. If you're interested in a badass Jeep and you would like to purchase it, inbox me. I'm in the San Diego area. This is September 2023, so if it's like 2 years from now when you see this video, the Jeep will obviously be gone. But if you're in the area right now and you're interested in a Jeep like this, hit me up. I'm Brian from How to Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching and encourage you to subscribe.